When did your sibling refuse to let things go? When I was 13, my sister Mariah got engaged to this guy Evan who gave me the absolute creeps. He was 26 and always found excuses to be around me when Mariah wasn't home. He'd show up early to pick her up and sit way too close to me on the couch, asking about my school friends and whether I had a boyfriend yet. He'd ruffle my hair and tell me I was going to be even prettier than my sister when I grew up. The worst part was when he started offering to drive me places. He'd volunteer to take me to soccer practice or pick me up from school, then take these long detours where he'd park somewhere secluded and tell me about his college girlfriends or ask if I'd ever been kissed. He'd say things like, "You're so mature for your age, most guys your age won't appreciate you." One day he actually reached over and touched my face, saying I had perfect skin, and I finally snapped and told my parents everything. They went ballistic. My dad literally dragged Evan out of our house by his shirt collar and told him if he ever came near me again, he'd call the police. Then they sat Mariah down and said the engagement was over, period. Mariah cried for 3 days straight, screaming at me that I'd ruined her life over nothing, and that I was too young to understand what real love looked like. She threw her engagement ring in my face and said I'd stolen her chance at happiness because I couldn't handle a little attention. But she broke up with him because our parents threatened to cut her off completely if she didn't. For the next 15 years, Mariah never let me forget what she'd supposedly sacrificed for me. Every time I started dating someone, she'd find reasons why they weren't good enough. She'd say things like, "I gave up my fiance for you, so you owe me your trust." She made me break up with my college boyfriend because she said he was too controlling. Then she sabotaged my relationship in grad school because she claimed he was using me for money. Every single guy I dated got the Mariah treatment. I started believing that maybe I really did have terrible judgment and needed her protection. Then I met Reed, and for the first time in my life, I found someone I wasn't going to let her chase away. He's a paramedic, volunteers at homeless shelters, and treats me like an absolute queen. When I told Mariah I was engaged, she immediately started her usual routine about how he reminded her of Evan and how I was making a huge mistake. But this time I stood my ground and told her I was marrying Reed whether she liked it or not. That's when she called me crying and said she'd discovered something terrible about Reed. She claimed she'd seen him at a casino downtown gambling away thousands of dollars and getting into screaming matches with dealers when he lost. She said she'd followed him there multiple times and that he was clearly hiding a serious gambling addiction from me. She begged me to leave him before I married someone who would drain my savings and destroy my credit. I was devastated because gambling addiction runs in Reed's family, and he'd always sworn to me that he'd never even set foot in a casino. I brought it up to him that night and he looked completely confused. He asked me when Mariah claimed this happened, and I gave him the dates. He pulled out his phone and showed me his work schedule. On every single day, Mariah claimed to have seen him gambling. He'd been working 24-hour shifts at the fire station. Then he showed me his bank statements, his credit report, and even called his supervisor to confirm his schedule with me on speakerphone. The evidence was overwhelming. Mariah had completely fabricated the entire story. I drove to her apartment and confronted her with everything Reed had shown me. She tried to backtrack at first, claiming she must have been mistaken about the dates, but when I pressed her, she finally broke down and admitted she'd made the whole thing up. "I gave up the love of my life for you," she said, "and now you're going to get married before I do and rub at my face that I'm alone and you're not?" I stared at her in complete disbelief. "You didn't give up Evan for me, Mariah. Mom and Dad made you dump him because he was a predator who was grooming their 13-year-old daughter. You didn't sacrifice anything. You got saved from marrying a creep." She started crying and said that didn't matter because she'd still chosen me over him in the end. I picked up my purse and headed for the door. Then I turned back and said, "The only choice you made was to spend 15 years punishing me for something that was never my fault to begin with."